Wakalah is derived from Arabic root word, which are wakalah that brings the meaning of to perform or complete the task for someone else or delegation of duties or job to another person or entity. The term wakalah refers to a contract in which one party, acting as the principal or known as muwakil, appoint another party acting as his agent or wakil to carry out a certain activity, with or without a payment. The wakil fiduciary obligation or amanah towards the muwakil within the scope of what have been granted to him determine the form of wakalah, which is the dependent on the wakil's delegation or authorization by the muwakil. The act of one party directing the other to act on its behalf is what may be subject matter of delegation. This referred as wakalah according to accounting and auditing organization for Islamic financial institution. This activity is either done for free or there are payment charged for it. The Ummah had come to a consensus on the legitimacy of the wakalah contract since there is a great need for it, and individuals are also not capable of catering and handling all his or her needs, matters and daily affairs on their own without having to resort to help of other people. Hence, it is permitted because it is one of the type of cooperation on good deeds and the fear of God, which is ta'awun alal birri wal taqwa, encouraged in Islam. According to the majority of jurists, the wakalah contract is supported by 4 pillars. These are the parties which include the offer and acceptance, as well as the principal, which is known as muwakil, an agent, a wakil, a subject matter of an agency, and by the parties. Wakalah is also permissible to use because the legality was written in the Quran. So send one of you with this silver coin of yours to the city, and let him look to which is the best of food and bring you provision from it. It is mentioned in Surah Al-Kahfi, verse 19. There is also a sunnah where Urwah reported that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ gave him a dinar to buy a sheep. He bought 2 sheep and sold one of them for a dinar, and then he brought a sheep and a dinar. So the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ invoked a blessing on him in his business dealing, and he was such that if he bought thus, he would make a profit from it. Sahih Bukhari, hadith number 3370. Other than that, Muslim jurists have reached an ijma on this permissibility of wakalah.
Now, we move to the conditions of wakalah. There are certain conditions that need to be fulfilled in order for the wakalah contract to be valid. The first condition is offer and acceptance, or in other words, sirah. The word sirah refers to a proclamation of delegation. When a task is delegated, both the principal and the agent will say it out as a sign that they are happy to take on the responsibility. The jurists are in agreement that the acceptance of wakalah is not limited to merely the provision of a verbal indication. It is possible to establish it by a variety of additional techniques such as through movement, writing, or sign gestures. The jurists have also come to the conclusion that the acceptance can be performed either immediately or at later time. For instance, if the principal says, "I permit you to sell my car on my behalf," and thus the agent responds, "I approve that," which means that the wakalah contract is concluded. Moreover, the second condition is the principal, or also known as muwakil. The principal must be the owner of the goods or a person authorized to act on his behalf. In addition to being eligible to conduct this action, the principal must be of sound mind. A wakalah from a mad person or a child is therefore void. Hanafi thinkers deem lawful a child's wakalah in financially beneficial behaviors such as receiving presents. In contrast, the permissibility of wakalah from a child in intermediate circumstances when the activity may result in financial profits and losses, such as trading and leasing, relies on whether he is permitted to engage in those activities. In addition, the principal or muwakil must delegate depending on his own free will and not under the influence of others. It goes without saying that the agent should not be coerced into performing the assigned assignment. Then, the third condition is the agent, or also called as wakil. The conditions of the agents closely resemble those of the principal. The agent must be of mentally sound, or else the contract will be invalid. According to the Hanafi school, it is allowed for a youngster who can distinguish between good and evil to be a wakil. This is inferred from the reality that Ammar bin Saidah, Salama, married her mom with the Prophet ﷺ. During that moment, Ammar was a kid who had not yet reached puberty. The fourth condition is the object or muwakil bih, such as financial matters. The subject of the agency contract should be eligible for legal authorization. The agency is prohibited from participating in pure acts of worship such as praying and fasting, oath taking and testifying. In contrast, the agency is permitted in acts of worship with a financial component such as zakat, hajj, and the slaughtering of sacrificed animals. In addition, it should not entail Islam prohibited behaviors or acts of treasury such as theft and property appropriation. According to the Shafi'i school, in order to avoid ambiguity or gharar in Arabic, the object must be known. However, minimal doubt that does not lead to a disagreement between contractual parties is permitted. According to the Hanafi school, such an object cannot be the use of public property, such as the collection of wood from public grounds. In general, the notion of wakalah in takaful operations can be a specific and limited wakalah, as the takaful products contracts can be vary. Indeed, the takaful agent receives their own salary and compensation. Therefore, it falls within the classification of paid wakalah. Regarding the requirements of wakalah, it is used in the operation of takaful conforms to the Sharia principles outlined above. The offer and acceptance both parties to a contract were typically made verbally and writing. The principal and the agent are both competent of entering into a wakalah contract. As the agent is an employee of takaful firms and the principal has a sound mind, a good job, and a solid background. According to the principle of Sharia, the subject of its contract is permitted. In Islam, it is customary for participants to make a charitable contribution. Then, I'm going to explain regarding the definition of takaful. Takaful is a form of Islamic insurance in which participants pay funds to a pool to guarantee each other against loss or damage. Takaful insurance is founded on Sharia or Islamic religious law, which describes how individuals are obligated to work together and safeguard each other. Takaful policies covers needs for health, life, and general insurance. Takaful insurance firms were developed as an alternative to conventional insurance firms, which are considered to violate Islamic regulations on riba or interest, al-maisir or gambling, and al-gharar or uncertainty principles, which are prohibited by Sharia. Moreover, in a takaful arrangement, all parties or policyholders agree to assure each other and make payments to a pool or mutual fund in lieu of paying premiums. The accumulation of contributions constitutes the takaful fund. The amount of each participant's payment is determined by the sort of coverage they need and their individual circumstances. Similar to a conventional insurance policy, a takaful contract outlines the nature of the risk and the duration of coverage. A takaful operator manages and administers the takaful fund on behalf of the participants and collects an agreed upon fee to cover costs. Similar to a normal insurance company, costs consist of sales and marketing, underwriting, and claims administration.
This time I will talk about the relationship and the application of wakalah in takaful. The relationship between Wakalah and Takaful is the Takaful business model is based on Sharia requirements and practices. Takaful has adapted the Wakalah contract as its business model. It enables Takaful to use the agency system effectively in distributing Takaful products at strong commercial value and to provide adequate and commensurate remuneration through the services provided. However, intermediaries also play a big role in society. This is because they spread the knowledge about the main benefits of the ensure and convince the pupil to enjoy these benefits. So, pupil can rely on these trained mediators to advise and recommend them on various plans and solution provisions, which best suit their needs. Therefore, Takaful will act as an agent to manage the Takaful funds on behalf of the participant and will be eligible to receive a Wakalah fees for the services rendered. However, the application of Wakalah in the Takaful industry in Malaysia can be seen in several companies. One of them is Wakalah in Etika Takaful Berhad. To be specific, it can be seen in the protection of for cargo that is protected from danger during transit by land in Malaysia and Singapore. The Sharia concept used is Wakalah. The product used, the Wakalah, which is agency concept, where participants appoint Etika Takaful Berhad to act on their behalf to invest and manage the general Takaful fund. The participant also agree to authorize the company to delegate rights and obligation to any third party that they deem appropriate for the purpose of achieving their managing the funds, but provided that in the event of any such representations, that they shall remain liable for all such rights and obligation to the participant. As agents, the company also feels that they are entitled to the Wakalah fee as a service charge. This part I will explain generally regarding the modus operandi of the Wakalah model for Takaful. The figure shows the modus operandi of the general Takaful Wakalah chart model. As is well known, Wakalah means agency in Arabic, right? Okay, through the diagram, it is an agency relationship that has been agreed between the two parties to run the business. The model clarifies an agreement between an agency that is an agent to representative, which is wakil, to manage follower participation in various Takaful products that have been provided by the operator. As a reward, in agency services, the operator is allowed to charge a fee against an agreement. Fees are payable from the Takaful contributions already paid by the participant. Through this model, the operator will earn revenue from agency fee as well as a return on the investment of its shareholders' funds. However, there are also operators who adopt this model by charging performance fee on the roles and services in managing Takaful fund investment. In fact, not only that, in the perspective of cancellation, the participant will be refunded the net balance of the contribution and after deducting all upfront charges such as Wakalah fee and other management expenses from the Takaful fund. So, we will go one by one on the issue that arise in the application of Wakalah in Takaful.
Thank you, Hani. So now I continue with my part. Syarikat Takaful Malaysia Berhad does not use the agent system or Wakalah system, while Takaful Nasional Sendirian Berhad use the agency system or Wakalah system because it holds a different management expenses for Wakalah. Takaful Nasional Sendirian Berhad, TNSB, and Syarikat Takaful Malaysia Berhad use two quite dissimilar avenues to market their respective Takaful programs. Takaful Nasional Sendirian Berhad make use of a signed agent to bring in new client, but Syarikat Takaful Malaysia Berhad relies on its counters, which are made of branch Takaful desk to handle walk-in clients. Syarikat Takaful Malaysia Berhad expect interested potential customers to come to its counter to buy either one or a combination of its product or plans, along with serving as the mean of trade for the purchasing and selling of such program. These various points of contact with client also cover other crucial areas that are fundamentally important in marketing effort. In this situation, a company's operational plan is restricted in order to comply with the other judgment of certain law school. Comparatively, this would imply the Takaful National Sendirian Berhad complies with another law school decision about agency expenses by using the agency system, or known as Wakalah system. The legitimacy of Al-Wakalah is erased by evidence derived from Quranic texts and the tradition of the Prophet Muhammad SAW, the practice of the rightly guided Caliph, and lastly from the unanimous affirmative opinion of all Muslim juries. However, as the system is legitimate, it is therefore not the issue that Orang Syarikat Takaful Malaysia Berhad decision to avoid it. Rather, the decision is based on a related issue that is created by implementing the system. For example, the company need to pay the agent's commission, which form a part of a company management expenses. Next issue is the fee is charged 2 times. There are actually Wakalah fee on contribution and Wakalah fee on the value of investment related to the Wakalah contract. Based on the information, we believe that the Wakalah fee is charged 2 times. There are actually some fee that will be charged, which are Wakalah fee on the value of the investment, and the other one is the Wakalah fee on the contribution. In 2010, Bank Negara Malaysia mentioned that if the product that is based on the Wakalah contract, a fixed upfront fee can be charged and can be charged on contribution based on contractual terms entered with the participant. The Wakalah fee is to cover commission and management expenses incurred in the management of Takaful Fund. It does not specifically explain anything against charging the Wakalah fee more than once. According to Tay and Zaharin in 2011, the Takaful company imposed too many fees to the participants, and since they want to generate profit, they impose many layers of fee to the participants. There are also some people who think that Wakalah fee are charged to the participant 2 times. In Wakalah, the problem is that when participant named as Takaful operator as the operator, the Takaful operator will collect the fees upfront and receive a profit share as the mudarib. Consequently, a second layer fee is imposed. To have a clearer understanding of this topic, let's assume that the Takaful operator managed the fund pool very effectively, resulting in a fewer claims that year, allowing the Takaful operator to split up the profit portion of the excess. In other words, if the profit is 1 million ringgit, then only would be shared.
The next issue is regarding the sharing of underwriting surplus between Takaful operators and participants in the Wakalah model. But before we go further, let me explain generally about underwriting surplus. So, what is underwriting surplus? Underwriting surplus can be defined as the amount remaining after deducting all expenses and management fee for the administration of the Takaful fund and claims made by the participant from contributions to the fund. How can this issue arise in the application of Wakalah in Takaful? Okay, I will go through one by one. This issue is raised due to the nature of underwriting surplus, which is the balance of the participant contribution after it is deducted with claims and all the other expenses. In fact, it does not mean any profit. Through the sharing of surplus, this has cost some amount of the participant and violated the provisions of profit distribution, which are under the principle of mudarabah. This is because in the beginning it was no profit. However, other jurists have also criticized it because it makes the contract essentially similar to a conventional insurance contract. In addition, the participant also had no right to the surplus as they had waived their rights when giving and paying contributions as donations. So, Through this, it is clear that in the Wakalah model, the surplus amount cannot be shared between Takaful operators and participants. This is because it has violated the principle of mutual assistance, and the amount is calculated after paying all expenses from the participant account. So, I will pass to the next presenter, Amrul Danish, to talk about the other issue.
Now, for the next issue, which is the problem of the agency system. The agency system will contribute positively to the community by introducing and promoting the concepts of mutual aid, cooperation and goodwill among the public at large. This system is beneficial and enhances social interest and values consistent with Sharia objective. However, it is impossible for a system to be devoid of flaws or issues, particularly one that interacts directly with society. Moreover, when the system relies on human involvement, which is susceptible to a range of human emotions and judgment, as in the case of the agency system, it is vulnerable to human bias. In the agency system, the agent may be a member of the society, which may be comprised of various types of people with vastly different behaviors and attitudes. Not all agents will consistently adhere to the rules established by the Takaful organization.
A working paper that the company's CEO delivered at a Takaful seminar is a key indicator of Syarikat Takaful Malaysia Berhad choice. It was subsequently included in the Manual for Administration of Takaful Branch Counter, where it mentioned that it is forbidden to deduct management costs from the Al-Mudarabah capital or its realized profit. According to the International Association of Islamic Banks Encyclopedia on the Theory and Practical of Islamic Banking, since the participants' Takaful contribution represent their Mudarabah capital, neither the capital nor the investment income from that capital may be used to finance the agency system, which is Al-Wakalah. Since agency costs are a portion of management costs that belong on the operator's dime, Syarikat Takaful Malaysia Berhad claims that it cannot utilise the fund or the income from its investment to pay the agent because of the prevailing Mudarabah contract controlling the company's relationship with the policy's participant. Therefore, Syarikat Takaful Malaysia Berhad choose to apply the system by adhering the certain legal interpretation or judgment controlling management expenditures. This is a typically illustration of how following the guidance of a certain law school restricted a company's operational strategies. According to Al-Shafi'i, paying for such charge out of the Mudarabah capital or its realized earning create gharar in uncertainty, which renders a contract unenforceable when it exists. Clearly, this viewpoint formed the foundation of Syarikat Takaful Malaysia Berhad ideas of management expenditures. For the resolution, actually Syarikat Takaful Malaysia Berhad still can use the Wakalah concept, but they just didn't want to because why? Because they just didn't want. Because why not they deduct the specific expenditures from each share of the profit? And how Syarikat Takaful Malaysia Berhad is able to do so from capital or gross profit. The business actually, Syarikat Takaful Malaysia Berhad actually can use the shareholders' fund to pay the bills if there is no profit. As a result, the operator or the firm will always be responsible for paying the management costs, which is in keeping with the definition plus cost. This issue is actually effective because Syarikat Takaful Malaysia Berhad still can use the Wakalah concept, and up to this day, Syarikat Takaful Malaysia Berhad already have an agent system. The issue of the second layer already existed when the study initially participated in the Wakalah Takaful model, and Takaful officer had charged the advance price. Contrarily, Bank Negara Malaysia 2010 notes that for Wakalah-based product, a setup upfront fee may be applied to contribution in accordance with the condition of any agreement made with the participants. The Wakalah charge is used to pay the commission and other management costs associated with managing Takaful money. At first, it shows no evidence of anything particularly prohibiting charging the Wakalah charge more than once. But according to Ayub 2003, the Wakalah model is applied when the Takaful operator provides service on a fee basis which is pre-agreed and there's no share in profit of the business. The operator fee can only be deducted from the net contribution and the remaining party can be put in the participant risk account, which is known as PSA. However, to minimize Sharia issue in this Wakalah model, scholars have set up a separate wakaf entity between the participants and Takaful operator. The donation will be put into the participant risk account and the investment or saving components will be credited to the PA account in the pure Wakalah model. We can infer from this that the participant owns all the underwriting assets and investment earnings. The Takaful operator under the Wakalah model does not participate in this underwriting assets. Instead, they only get the revenue from the Wakalah charge. A suggested solution for the extra fee or second layer fee is that the Takaful operator itself should select a very clear contract that will allow them to handle the participant fund effectively. It is vital to make sure that the level of trust among the participants is constantly at its highest. In addition, the participants' confidence level grew and they felt more comfortable continuing to participate in Takaful. Using decision based on the substantial adverse circumstance or SAC is another method for resolving the problem. This issue is less effective and should not be working in Takaful because the decision to settle the situation should be made by a higher authority, and in addition, the Takaful operator also should have a concrete framework for mitigation of the issue in the future. So that's all from me. Next part, we will continue by Ms. Hanisah Razali binti Azuni.
As we know, all problems certainly have their own arguments. In this issue, there are arguments or major debates among Middle Eastern Takaful companies and Malaysian Takaful operators regarding the issue of sharing of underwriting surplus between Takaful operator and participate in the Wakalah model. This issue has been opposed by the major regarding surplus underwriter sharing, and it is again disputed through the choice taken by the highly praised institution, namely AAOIFI. So, the Fiqh Academy resolution on surplus made it clear that it is possible to plough back the entire surplus to the Takaful fund or redistribute it in whole or in part to the participant according to the principles of fairness as well as the terms and conditions of the Takaful industry. Other than that, there is no special resolution made by the government to address this issue, but it can be seen through another perspective. In this issue, the excess amount belongs to the absolute right of the participant who pays mudarib from the profits in managing the fund, and then it is deducted from all the claims. In fact, if the surplus amount is safe, then it belongs to the participant. However, the Wakalah model has been modified and caused issues in dealing with the distribution of surplus amounts that should not be shared to be limited. Initially, Malaysia used the Wakalah model in the early stages, but many Takaful operators have turned to the Wakalah model. This is because the Wakalah Wakaf model is highly profitable. So, here we can see whether this issue is effective or not. Through the research we have done, this issue is less effective because, as mentioned above, the modified Wakalah model clearly shows that it has issues regarding the distribution of the surplus amount, which in fact it should not be shared with the Takaful operator. So, the Takaful needs to pay attention to this issue so that the Sharia concept is used, namely Wakalah, in order to form an accurate and good image of Islamic products.
Now, I'm going to elaborate regarding the arguments of the agency system issue. The agency system is beneficial to the growth and effectiveness of the takaful industry. However, there are few issues that require immediate attention to ensure the system's success. There are three arguments found in the agency system, which are the acquisition of takaful application, collection of contribution from the participants, and the delivery of takaful certificates to the participant. In the acquisition of takaful application, the agent employs a variety of methods, including speech, advertisement, and publication to attract the prospective participants they seek. Agents advertise their services on the internet via their personal website or blog. The problem is with the information's actual content. Occasionally, the agent will produce their own version of information regarding the offered services and plans, which is inconsistent with the company's standard reportage and offer. The member will therefore be confused. Then, for the collection of the contribution from the participant, some agents do not promptly transfer the contribution funds to the organization after collecting the funds. The takaful company provided the agent with a reasonable deadline for completing the process, but the agent continues to disregard it. It will lead to the misappropriation of contributions if it continues. Therefore, it violates the contract between principal and the agent. Furthermore, the issue of delivery certificates to the participants. After making sales, some agents fail to deliver the certificates. It demonstrates that the agent failed to fulfill their duties. However, it has also damaged the reputation of takaful company. It will diminish the participants' confidence and trust in the takaful company. Then, for the resolution of the arguments, in the acquisition of the takaful applications, the diverse methods employed by the agent to attain their objective will impede the principal and agent's basic agreement and understanding. A true inquiry may be done if the takaful provider gets a complaint or other pertinent information regarding the issue. If the agents are discovered to have misled in the public, the corporation may cancel their contract instantly. In addition, the corporation may manufacture sufficient quantities of brochures of the supplied items and programs for public distribution to guarantee that the agents do not create their own version of business publications. Training and company bulletins can serve as frequent reminders. Moreover, the agents can be informed of the repercussions of misusing contribution funds through training, seminars, and business bulletins when it comes to the issue of participant contribution collecting. The corporation may also send the renewal notice, lapse notice, and periodic collection statement directly to the participants. Thus, the participants will be informed as to whether or not their contributions have been received by the company. If there is a disparity between the amount paid and the amount collected by the company, the participants can either contact the company or confront the agents directly. Ultimately, this will prevent the misuse of contributions. Nevertheless, in order to prevent this issue of delivering certificates to the participants from occurring again, the takaful company can provide certificates directly to participants by email or mail. To conclude for this part, based on the research that we have made, it can be seen that the resolutions stated previously do have an impact on the issue regarding the agency system that has been brought up. Thus, it is clear that for this issue, it is still relevant to use the Wakalah model in takaful as it has a solution path regarding this particular problem, which can be seen in this report and other trusted resources. Lastly, for the conclusion part, the growth of the takaful industry is impressive, and this will bring more takaful windows or full-fledged takaful operators into the market. But the most important things for successful takaful operations are clear operations, Sharia-compliant products, and a strong Sharia supervisory board that makes sure the Sharia principles are followed in both form and substance. But the goal of this report is to show how the Wakalah model is used for Takaful products. We think that the unfavorable Sharia, ethical and other problems should be fixed as soon as possible, and the regulator should either improve the current model or introduce or recommend a new model that is more in line with the idea of giving and helping each other. That's all from us. Thank you.